What's up, guys? Welcome to the Dropout 74 podcast. I'm here with Coach David, or
Yes.
Coach. What do you want him to call you?
Kayembe.
Kayembe?
Yeah.
All right, we're here with Kayembe. In this podcast, we're going to go over a lot of things about meals, workout, anything about fitness is going to be a perfect podcast for you. And if you love this podcast, don't forget that all of the things that we talk about in this podcast, workouts that we've made, all of that are going to be linked down below. Enjoy the episode. The one thing I noticed, I'll say, like my mom and grandma, they're not very, they don't be working out a lot. So this is them getting into it. And it's really just like getting deep into a lot of the movements. So maybe they have a little more trouble with, like what we were just talking about with the front squats. But the biggest one I would say is like the burpees, you know?
Yeah.
For someone who can't get all the way down, get themselves back up. Like that one burpee in itself is like their max.
Exactly.
Like I've been trying to think about what we could have them do during that time.
Okay. I mean, for me, you always modify that. So whenever I look at an exercise, it's parts to it. You can always break it down in different parts, right? What's the first thing about the burpee, right? Depending on where you start, and if you're starting up here, you see, so there's this one movement, you can consider that a movement, hands up, and then the other one is once you go here, right? So we're breaking it down in parts. So we starting here, can you do this? Yep, I could do that, that's part of it. Can you do this, right? That's another part, I could do that, right? Now, where it comes to challenge is getting from here to the ground. So now for some people, yeah, it's easy. I could just do that, right? But for those people that can't, like once they get here, and now it's a struggle to get to the ground, you could start by, if either, just get even lower, right? Here, and just try to see how even more lower you can get.
Make it into like a touch if you
Exactly,
need to.
touch. So if go and touch, and then come back down. For most people, that's all they could do. And that's perfectly fine, because you're still engaging those legs. So here, let's get here. Now let's see how even low. So, because now that one, part two, and now the last part for those that stops here is just try to see how low you can get. And then come back up, and there's the same movement. And now you can just do that. That's one part. And then for the other people, let's say they get low, they could touch here, and if you really have that much range of motion, just
slowly walk yourself out.
Slowly walk yourself out. And if you could get here, right, you just push down. You don't even have to hold your weight. Just push down, relax, get back up, push yourself back up, and then you're here. So that's another part to go about it. So here, down here, and if you could get here, and just walk out.
So one
here.
thing that I've experienced, and I've had people tell me too, with like certain movements, whether it be like burpees, push-ups, they'll say that they don't have that exact wrist dexterity. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So what tips you got for people essentially trying to build that up, or that are dealing with the pain during the workout?
So for that, I would start in reverse, right? You want to start on the ground and then build yourself up. Because here, the movement, because everybody can get here, right?
Yeah.
You want to start here. Now the goal is, now let's see if we could just start here. If you just do that, that's perfectly fine. So here, do that, and then try to figure out a way to get up here. But starting from the ground, doing that, that's going to help build that strength in your wrist and etc. Because it's still the same movement. Remember how every exercise you can break it in parts. So, because usually we start here, all you want to do is start from here, come here. See, even this motion right here, that's something that's going to help you build that wrist. So, it's here. Now we're building the strength in the motion. You could just stay here and just do that. That's an exercise in its own. What that's going to do is going to build the shoulders, and it's going to build the positioning of your hands. At the same time, once you start putting a little bit more pressure into the hands, and it's going to build that strength in the wrist. So here, once you get better at this, the next thing is come up.
Yeah, applying the push-up.
Come up, right? And then from up here, the next thing is now We can even do this. You see how like it's different parts. It's the same movement, but now just putting parts to it.
Yeah, just isolating each move.
Parts to it. And now once you get here, now more people can come up here, right? So now we got here, 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 and here. And then from there, some people can, just, or if you can't do that, just bring this here and then get yourself back up. You see? Different part. It's like a progression to getting back up.
Okay, cool. I got another question for you. This is a little besides the point a little bit. So I have one of my friends, right? He's dealing with some rib pain right now.
Okay.
Because of that, he's very stuck in what workouts he could do, right? Because a lot of things are engaging right here.
It's like a painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got any, I guess, for someone like that, right? Let's say, because a lot of times people are dealing with an injury, and instead of maybe letting it rest, they are just not in the gym entirely, right?
Okay.
So for that specific example, what would you say? Like if you know, like, cause in almost all workouts, engaging your core is a huge
basic
part.
Yeah, it's a basic
So
foundation.
if your core is the part that is dealing with the injury, how would you suggest training?
So the first thing is you gotta find out where the issue or the problem with the core came from. So what caused your core to get to that level of pain? So it's either gonna be a certain movement that you did or something. So because most people are gonna know what happened with the core. So therefore, because that's gonna dictate what we're gonna do with the core. If you hurt your core by doing core exercise, right, we won't have to go by it slowly. But if let's say sometimes you can hurt your core like doing like squat, right? It depends on like how you were doing the squat. If you're doing squat and you were hunched back and stuff like that, all that weight can pull this and then also put a lot of weight on the core in this way. So it depends. Let's say, for example, let's say he hurt his core. Even running, something as simple as that, like you can kind of brace depending on your positioning. You can hurt your core that way. So one thing, let me give you an example, right? My brother, because I've been working out with him consistent for a few months now, right? So he injured his ankle playing soccer, right? The first thing is he called me talking about, hey, I hurt my ankle playing soccer, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to do the Stairmaster because that's what we usually do, right? So to him, for most people, they be like, I need to take a break. I'm not gonna do nothing exercise. I just need to stay off of it, right? Which is, it's a good idea, but not the best idea. Because what you want to do is you want to get back to the level that you were at as timely as possible. So guess what I told him, right? You know what? You don't have to do the Stairmaster. But you need to do something to put pressure on that ankle that's hurt. Because the worst thing you could do for yourself is not put pressure on it. Because what's the reason it got hurt in the first place is because that whatever muscle was weak, right? And once you put too much pressure on it, it injured that way. So what you need to know, that should be a indicator for you that you need to build that muscle. It was weak, it needs to get stronger. So you need to start applying pressure to it small by small. Not as much pressure you apply the first time, but small pressure to make that muscle get stronger. So guess what I told him? Hey, instead of Stairmaster, we're gonna get to the treadmill. All we're gonna do is walk on the incline, but at a slower pace to keep putting that range of motion into it. Guess what? He did that a couple of days. It only took him about 3 days. He was like, after I was like, hey, actually starting to feel better. And now he back on the Stairmaster, not doing the same pace he was doing before, but he doing it at a lower pace, but he's able to walk. But imagine if he had just stayed off. If I was like, you good, just take a rest. It would have taken longer for him to get back to that place. So that's the same thing with the core, right? So you hurt your core, like doing the extreme type of core movement is too hard. Break it down, make it small. You gotta break it down in parts, because the best thing you could do for yourself to get back to the level that you were at is still put pressure on that whatever muscle that's hurting, but do it at a smaller pace. You gotta progressively build that force back up to where.
What if it's more of like a sprain?
Okay, if it's more of a sprain, that's where we got what do you call it? I call them DME, but it's brace. Things that support, because what do those support things do? they alleviate the weight, the amount of weight that you put on whatever muscle. Let's say like the ankle brace, back brace, they just relieve the pressure a little bit so you can still have that same range of motion. That's exactly what you need to do with anything. You still want to be able to go through the same type of motion, just making yourself a little bit lighter, like on the weight, like relieve the amount of pressure that's on that muscle. So, like staying completely off it, not doing the exercise is not the best thing for you to do.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right. Another question I got for you, bro. So for me, I'll be in the gyms, but the hardest thing I be finding, like I can stay consistent working out, but the hardest thing is being consistent with dieting, right?
Okay.
And what I've noticed is it's like a back and forth, right? Sometimes the only consistent part is the inconsistency at times, right? Because sometimes I'll be super locked in, and what I'm realizing too, one of my biggest things is, right, like not even just the overeating at times, but some days I'd be like just not eating at all, which I feel like is giving me like insulin spikes and just messing with everything else. So, and I know a lot of people deal with that, and for me, the reason being is I have a pretty busy schedule, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm just doing things, and that's where it'll go into like I'm not eating the best because I'm just trying to eat something real quick, or I'll go into not eating at all because I've been working all day. So for people like that, what would you say is like a starting point in how to start getting more consistent with that dieting on a day-to-day basis?
That's a good question because that's my specialty right now.
Okay.
Trying to, help people with, I call it building relationship with food, right? So that's what I call it because, think about it. You have a relationship with almost everything in your life, right? So you gotta also be able to build that same relationship with food. One thing people don't realize is not eating is bad eating habit. It's like it's unhealthy as well because you would think, oh, I didn't eat like look, is eating bad is what do you call bad health eating, right? But it's also not eating is also the same
bad eating habit.
Bad eating habit. You not eating is a bad eating habit because your body requires those nutrition in order to go throughout the day, right? You need the nutrient, the protein,
and I
the
feel
vitamins.
it affect my workouts too, like or even like my gains or whatever. Like sometimes I'll be feeling like I'm getting stronger or maybe not getting bigger or retaining my gains for as long. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So that's where that you said the inconsistency of not having a kind of eating habit, right? So the way to build that, because like your body, it feeds off of based on your kind of routine. That's why whenever I do a certain type of diet, I always do it for a month. I'm conditioning myself, my body to get used to a certain type of, clockwork eating habit. Because with anything that you do, you're influencing, I guess, your mind or your subconscious mind, right? So you have the primary, mind or the conscious mind where the one you control, right? You're like, move, because right now I'm using my conscious mind. Now there's that subconscious, which is the primary conscious that you need to, that motivates you to get, to start doing something. Because if that one is not up to par, if that one doesn't want to do anything, you never gonna go able to do anything if it doesn't agree to it. So you can't force that one and you can't control it. What you could do is influence that subconscious mind. And how do you do that? By building a routine, right? Doing a certain routine is going to influence that subconscious mind to get up to par to what you're doing. So the first thing I would tell for you is we got to work on the not eating part, right? Your biggest part is not consuming the right nutrient. Is that those days where I get so busy, man, I forgot to eat.
Yeah,
that's
it'll
the
be
problem.
like 4 p.m. and I'll be like, oh, I should get a little something in me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And then especially when we hungry, we're like, we're not worried about, oh, let's get the right food. We just let me get some food in me. So you see, that also mess up that whole, you got some food. It might have been bad food, but if you eat in person, it's not bad at all. But now your body's like, oh, he didn't have nothing. Now he just put something in. Now I got to work with that food that I have, and it forgets to tap into the right source of fat, right source of, other nutrient that it needs to tap into, because it's only working with the food that you just fed it.
Yeah,
so
and like you said, it works on like a system. So if you're not giving it a system to follow, it's just kind of doing what it
it's
knows.
like doing what's what it has. It works with what it has right there and there. So the first thing for you personally, because everybody's gonna be on a different what do you call it? Base to base. For you, the not eating habit is the one we're gonna have to start building, influencing that. It's like, you know what, even though I'm not hungry, I still need to get something in me, right? Give yourself a clock, or just like how you schedule your work, you know, you were like, you got this on the calendar, this and that.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
The hardest thing, bro, it'd be like, my appetite be so, when there's food in front of me, I can eat. But when it'd be like I don't be craving nothing, bro. And I think a big part of that is I don't really be knowing what I should be eating per se. Because most of the time, bro, if I'm cooking, I'm gonna just get some like ground meat, cook it up, some rice, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Simple, right? But I think a lot of people deal with that. They're trying to figure out what to eat, you know, instead of going out, blah, 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 what to cook, etc., and still trying to keep it pretty quick, you know what I'm saying? So, like, for example, are you cook on a day-to-day?
I don't cook every single day, right? But whenever I do get a chance to cook,
Do you meal prep?
nah.
Okay.
I did. So that's where that building food relationship comes at.
Yeah.
I've won a period where I was meal prepping every single meal, and I do that for a certain period of time. So now I have that relationship with food where I understand that, you know, when I was meal prepping, this was a type of food that worked better for me. So now I can just eyeball, like I can, like let's say if I'm going to a restaurant, today I'm eating out, right? I know that a steak got about 21 grams of protein, right? That's on average, right? Depending on how it's cooked, if it got oil added to it, butter and stuff like that, oil, 1 tablespoon of oil got like what, 150 calories in there. That's about what, maybe some grams of fat in there, but that's depending on what type of oil. Is good fat or is it bad fat? Olive oil and vegetable oil, they got the good source of fat. Calories still up there. You see, I can eyeball it because there was a certain period of time where when I was meal prepping, I know exactly what calories is in this, what protein is in this. So I could just like, let's say if I go to like McDonald's, for example, which I don't know when the last time I've been to McDonald's. So I look at the menu like, you know what? We got the chicken right here. So I know from that chicken, this much meat, I'm gonna give me 21 grams of protein. So now let's see what the extra stuff they got in the chicken. I might not, depending on if I'm doing cardio or not, I might take the buns off. Like I'm not gonna eat the buns. I'll probably just eat the, you know, the meat part of the chicken. Or let's say, you know, I'm gonna do some cardio, so I'm gonna need that carb, right? So I'm gonna keep the meat and the bun, just take out all the condiment, like, you know, the sauce that they put on there, remove the sauce, remove the onion, the other stuff, and there I got my carbs and I got my protein. You see how like you kind of eyeballing that way. That's what happens when you eating outside, right? Because you know that bun, maybe you get what, 130, 150 calories in there, right? That's extremely full of carbs, and then you got the grams of protein, 21, about what, between 130 to 180 calories in that meat. So that's kind of how you look at it. But the first thing, before you can start doing that, you got to build that relationship with food, right? You got to start somewhere, start small, right? Either, for right now, don't even worry about what type of nutrients you are. Just build a time system of, I got to get all my 3 meals, or I got to get all my 2 meals.
Yeah.
If I'm
so what
meals.
would you recommend, right? Because I wake up, and I'll be honest with you, right? Like I wake up around, let's say like 8, 9. I immediately start working. I honestly, like, I probably don't get my first meal in until about like 3 o'clock. So I know some people though, they also like that whole fasted time or whatever. So maybe I'll get my first meal in at 3 o'clock. But also I'm trying to prioritize the protein and all that too, right?
Okay.
So what would you say is the optimal amount? Should I try to eat bigger, less meals, or should I just try to eat more frequent small meals throughout the day?
So that is 2 things you say. Either add more food but small portion, or eat that 1 meal but a bigger portion with all your nutrient in it.
What are the pros and cons, let's say, to that one, to doing the fast throughout the day and then let's say like if you know, okay, bro, at the end of the day I'd be pretty hungry, and you want to eat more stuff, but you can, let's say you're gonna do it the right way. You're not gonna eat like cake and all that. You're gonna eat the right stuff, but you're essentially saving all of your calories to one part of the day. What are the pros and cons to that method?
So that type of meal, if for somebody that's they do an intense exercise, right?
Yeah.
Let's say
they're a hybrid athlete. They're working out.
Yeah, so for most of them, like that's not a bad meal for you, especially because most of those people, they work out hungry, right? So they do that because they get like an early morning or before eating time workout.
Mm-hmm.
So you work out and then you go eat. That's kind of the way you want to do it. Like, don't eat and then try to go work out afterwards, because that's too much food all in one time.
Yeah.
And it ain't really gonna be, beneficial for you. Because what that does is, let's say you work out fasting, right? And then you go have that one big meal. What that does is your metabolism is already up. That food is gonna break down faster. But if you don't work out and you have that one meal and you ain't speeding no metabolism up, you ain't have your body, working overtime to break down the food, that food's gonna stay in you for a long period of time. And then you're gonna try to go work out, which is, you ain't gonna have the best time working out. Like, you might do something, but then the process is not gonna be well. So for that meal, it's somebody that's, like you said, a hybrid training. You get your exercise in the morning and then you go eat that meal, because then it gives it time to break down and then you get your nutrients in. But in reverse, if you're somebody that doesn't really work out in the morning and stuff like that, your best bet is like break those meals down. You want to get them small by small, because you know that it's going to be consistent throughout the day, right? Because you might get a workout here in the afternoon after the one meal, and you still got enough room to where, you're able to
get a good workout.
Yeah,
okay.
able
So
to work out.
if you're gonna work out, the way I'm hearing it is like, if you're gonna work out early in the morning, you could look at it like you almost like earning the meals, right?
Exactly.
You're getting the calories out of the way first, getting rid of them so that you're replenishing them. But if you're on a system where you don't really know how the workout's gonna go, how the day gonna go, to just small meals throughout the day, just so that you can maintain. And then if you got to work out, then you could adjust, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And
That's
if you
right.
end up not working out for the day, then
straight,
I don't need to eat nothing crazy. So, right, days you're not working out, would you say, like, because I've done the carnivore diet for a little bit. It was when it was for like a competition. I was cutting some weight. It worked for a little bit. It's in terms of like the scale weight loss, but a lot of it I feel like is water weight. But a lot of people, at some point, you're right, they say you get into ketosis and you are losing fat. So what are your thoughts on the carnivore diet, or just diets that are, they have the carnivore diet and I forgot the other one, what they called it, but essentially it's like you only eat like eggs, meat, fruit.
Yeah, I know that one. So sometimes, like, is that word, let me, I'm gonna say it this way, but hopefully people don't get confused. Is sometimes is an inconsistency in having a consistent meal. Like, you shouldn't do it for a long period of time, right? Let's say if I'm on a carnivore diet, right?
Yeah.
Me personally, I only go about a month, right? Because a lot of times the body get used to a certain routine, and then it don't go no further than that until you gotta switch it up. Like, you gotta confuse the body on what it's tapped into, because it gets so used to the routine. It's like, oh, this is what you've been eating consistently. So that means I'm only gonna tap into this type of, or either this fat, or I'm only gonna be building this. So what you will need to do, like, let's say you've been consistent on that carnivore diet, here and they get you that big cheat day, like confuse your meal. Just eat something out of the norm or the
So like
ordinary.
still throw the carbs in there. So and I'm not too familiar with it, but I know like a lot of people say certain carbs aren't good because of the like certain breads. I shouldn't even say carbs. Let me say certain breads will just turn into sugar based on the whatever it's made out of. I'm not the nutritionist side of it. That's where I'm coming to you for. So what are your thoughts with that? Of when people are like, what are the carbs that I should be eating? Maybe they're refined carbs or refined grains or whatever?
Refined. So as far as carbs, right? Carbs is a runner's best friend, right? So whenever you somebody like long distance running and stuff like that, you'll go to like kind of meals or like carbs because you need that energy. It's something that they fuel themselves up before they go on that run, and something you get right after, after that run, because you just burn all this energy, right? Because it's what they call it is ATP. Is your primary source of energy. It's like that first quick burst energy that you use. Those are that carb, that sugar you get from the bread and the stuff like that. Is that energy you're gonna use right away, right? So that's kind of a runner go to carbs. Your food is gonna be mainly consistent of like a high carb portion than anything else. But if you somebody that's kind of like, you lift here and there, you don't run as long, but you kind of do a little mixture, your main source of nutrition is not going to be carb. You're going to have carbs here and there, but it's going to be limited. Your priority is going to be protein, anything that's high in protein, right? Because you're building muscle and you trying to optimize the most energy you can have in a short period of time, because you're not going for the longest period of time. You're just trying to see how much, like 10-minute workout with there, right? That's something you want to, prioritize protein in there, because we didn't do it for too long, but the intensity was high. And you need that type of energy to maintain, because also at the same time we're breaking down the muscle, because we're putting a little pressure on, whether with the squat, even now, I was feeling a little bit of that with the squat. So it all depends on how do you exercise and what type of exercise you're doing. So that's kind of how you go to it. It all goes down to like build that relationship with food. Once you understand what type of food work well with you or for you, then you will understand that, you know what, I'm about to do this type of exercise. You know what, then I'm gonna need to eat this before I go do that exercise. It's like, I did this type of exercise. That means I gotta eat this after I do this type of exercise. So the way I train, I prioritize a lot of protein. Like early this morning, let me put it this way, because I'm trying to help you out with your routine, because you said that not eating, because it's really bad. It's bad. Like the fact that you forget to eat.
I feel like when I go a long time, bro, without eating, even if on the scale I'm losing weight, I feel like I be gaining fat.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's where. All right. So that's the reason why. So like, let's say for example, right, I'm on a routine that I usually do, and which helped me influence my subconscious mind, right? So as soon as I get up in the morning, right, I'm hitting 200 crunches, them toe touches, right? That's kind of my routine. So from the toe touches, I go brush my teeth, I get in the shower.
So you start your day with the workout.
Exactly. Okay. Right? So toe touches, brush my teeth, shower, and then drink me a protein. Right? You see how to like...
You put, what in your protein, just out of curiosity, milk, water, what you put in it?
Milk.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's soy milk is the one with the 30 grams of calories. So it's not like, just
not regular, not just regular dairy.
No. It's the one with the soy milk. So as soon as I get my 30 grams of protein, then I get dressed and stuff like that. But you see, I added out the crunches in the morning, and I've been doing that for so long in my routine. So let's say one of these days I wake up and I don't hit the crunches, the day feels off.
Yeah. So, and I've heard someone say that with your fitness, you got to give yourself non-negotiables. For example, that protein shake in the morning. Like I have one of my homies, and I was on it, bro, and I did see the improvement. And really what happened was it was like one day off turned into 2, 3. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The non-negotiables he was saying is like, bro, you got to get that protein in. Because I would always say this, bro. I would always be like, bro, people who be like, I can't eat enough, that's whatever. But then I started really trying to not only eat enough, but eat the right things, when it's like, oh man, it is kind of hard to get all this protein down, to get all this down. But when you do have those non-negotiables, like you say, in the beginning of the day, now it's a lot easier, because I think a lot of people don't realize how far away from their protein goals they're actually hitting. And if you're, and I say that because I think if you're not intentionally trying to hit it, you're not going to.
Exactly.
Just like life isn't, meals, the way portions are just made for us, is not to hit that protein goal, but typically to be over on your carbs and stuff like that. So I think that is a good concept. Like you said, wake up, have that non-negotiable. You gonna hit the crunches, and then you gonna go have your shake right away. So that makes sense.
Yeah, so you see, like, it's a routine.
Yeah.
And then, for example, like, let's say, so, because right now I prioritize that protein. I get my, from 75 grams and above gram of protein throughout the day. Let's say I want to add something in. So I'm like, my priority now is like, oh, you know what? I notice I don't get enough fat, like the right source of fat, right? So
Well, what would you say are the right sources of fat?
So like things like, you got the avocados, you got the vegetable oils, you got the chia seed and stuff like that.
What are the sources people are typically getting that are the bad sources that are putting them?
Like you got your butter, you got your extra grease oil from like, the regular food that you eating. You got the sugar from like, the sweets and the stuff like that. Those are bad type of fat, right? So those are the extra fat that even though, because think about how long a workout is. You're going to burn so much calorie in that one session. You're not going to burn all them fat off in one time. But the right source of fat is the type of fat, it's either saturated or it's one of those saturated or unsaturated fat, right? So what that does is it's so dense in it, because you don't even need that much fat in your overall diet. It's so dense that to a point that whatever you consume, you can get rid of that in like a one single exercise.
Yeah.
You feel me? Compared to like, I'm gonna eat this, let's say this little cupcake that has like, I don't know how much sugar in it, how much fat, and then I eat another this and that, but that's so much, fat that like I'm only getting rid of this much. That excessive that's left, that's what turns into fat. You feel me? Because it's so much left. Now the next day you adding more of it. Now you still got the ones from yesterday.
It's like,
and then it builds up on top of the
two
other.
steps backwards, one step forward kind of thing.
Exactly.
Like you're never gonna be able to outbeat that.
And imagine the fat I mentioned, like the right source of fat, like things like the olive oil. How many spoons of olive oil you going? Not the lot.
And that's a good point, right? Because like you have avocado, for example, right? You could eat a whole bag of, let's say, like you could eat 2 cupcakes, right?
Yeah.
And still be pretty hungry in like
and
30
still want
minutes.
to eat more.
But if you get like avocado, you get it on some like, good quality sourdough bread, that's actually gonna hold you over for a little bit. And then, you add your protein or whatever in there. Now you got more satiating meals. That's another big thing too. I realized that myself, and I'll see it in other people, eating meals that are like quick. Like you don't feel satisfied for a long period of time.
Exactly. And that's bad. And the other thing is, so sometimes we prioritize like, let's get the good nutrient, the one we consider good, like the protein, the vitamins and etc. And then we neglect fat as well, because we've associated fat with everything bad that like ain't nobody gonna look at fat and be like, oh, I need fat. Like, when the last time you heard somebody like, I need to, increase my fat intake. Nobody says that.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the thing.
Someone told me that recently. Who was it? I was talking to my mother-in-law, and I was like, and honestly, I think that was a big part of what made me like kind of like mess up my diet. I was pretty locked in, but I felt like I was always hungry. And she was like, you probably need to get more fats in. And my mindset was like, nah, I'm eating lean. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't feel satiated. I felt like I would eat my ground turkey, eat some sweet potato. Sometimes I eat sweet potato. I started trying to get sweet potato after that, but I'd eat the ground turkey and the rice, some greens.
Yeah.
And I looked good. But I felt like I was just like always tired. Like I was always hitting like energy walls, and then always feeling like I need to eat more food. And typically I know that that's my body telling me like, yo, it's not even that you're hungry, but like I'm craving something. Maybe it's protein, maybe it's fats, whatever. But that's what I've noticed whenever my body is like craving something, it's usually not just like, dang, I'm hungry. Because sometimes I'll dead be a little, I don't want to say full, Because like this will be the thing, right? I'll go all day, I won't eat, and then I'll finally eat a little something.
Yeah.
I'll be a little full, but then I'll still feel like cravings for something. And a lot of times I'll realize this because like my energy is feeling depleted, and my body's trying to like, all right, we need something so we can keep going, keep doing more work. You know what I'm saying?
Fact. Here's one thing you say about like you say energy being depleted, even though you eating the protein, the lean meat, and the stuff like that. But yeah, the energy source is only but a little bit. It's I think it might be also a controversial statement and stuff like that. But fat is really energy, right? It just becomes bad because we're not utilizing the energy that we're putting in.
Yeah.
And that's why, right, you eating the protein and lean muscle and the stuff that we consider good source of, food, but you still depleted because you don't have the energy to move because it doesn't have as much fat in it.
Yeah, and then
So
that's when I feel me craving the sugar, the sweets,
Exactly.
the quick little like, energy spikes.
So that's why once you build that relationship with food, you're going to know how much fat I need to get. Like how much, I need this amount of fat, this much for me to do this type of lifting that I'm doing. Even like a couple of days I've noticed because I've tried to like I'm always consuming my protein. I'm always drinking my protein shake. But a few days this past week, what I did was I only drank protein shake for all my 3 meals. And I got to the gym. I ain't have as much energy I needed to. Though I put my protein in because I had 30 grams for breakfast, 30 grams for lunch, and 30 grams afterwards. But the energy level just was not there because it was not enough fat in that in my body.
That makes sense.
For me to be able to move. I felt like I got to the gym. I was like, man, why is the energy so low? Even though I got my protein in, but it wasn't enough because there was no balance in whatever I ate. I got protein. Was only 170 calories, barely enough fat in there, like barely enough vitamins and the other stuff. But the priority was that fat. It was extremely low because the only thing I consumed was protein.
All right, let's try this exercise real quick. Not physical exercise, but I'm gonna give you an example of an exercise that you or someone may do, and I want you to tell me quickly like the best meal for it, right?
Okay.
So boom. You just wake up, you're about to go on a light run. You're about to just run a little 5K. Would you eat before, and what would you eat before?
Okay. A live 5K. Me personally, I would eat afterwards depending on what I ate the night before, right? Let's say if I ate just a regular good meal the night before, I'll probably go run on an empty stomach because I only gave me 8 hours of sleep. Maybe I'm gonna give myself 2 more hours. Let's say I ate 4 hours prior to going to sleep, so that's enough time for I still got that energy left over from yesterday and last night to run through it. But let's say if I didn't eat nothing or I ate something light the night before, in the morning before I go on that run, so I'll prioritize. I give me the nutrition bars, right? That's what I start with. So depending on that, I'll do a nutrition bar with maybe some peanut butter. Because peanut butter is heavy enough to where you feel kind of satisfied, but you're not too full. Where you still feel light enough, but your stomach is not starving. You feel me? I'll do some peanut butter, but only a spoon of it, not too much.
Not too much.
Yeah,
Okay.
too much butter.
So, all right, boom, right? So, we're gonna build out the day. You just ran your 5K. You came home. You had your, let's say before the 5K, right? Let's say it was a night where, let's say you just ate a little bit of peanut butter right before the 5K, boom, you come home. After that, you're gonna hit a lifting session.
Okay.
Let's say you're not doing nothing light, right? You're not doing no crazy circuits, but you go in there and you're getting good lifts. You're lifting. You're pushing yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're not having a good workout. You're straining. You're kind of pushing yourself to failure. What would you eat prior to that workout, right? And we're saying this is after your morning 5K. And let's say, because we're gonna try to put it into the aspect of a hybrid athlete or someone building up to be a hybrid athlete, right? So they're starting their 5K and they know they're gonna hit their lift in the day. So what would you say?
Before I go do the lift, right? So I would do something like I do like a banana, right?
And how much time would you ideally have in between in a perfect world?
Okay. So after the run, I'll probably give myself another 4 hours a good range, but in between you can do 2 to 4 hours. Give yourself that time to break. Because after the run, you want to prioritize hydration, right? After the run, you want to hydrate and give yourself time for that water or that electrolyte to settle down and get you back to it. So while during that time, that's the time where you try to get that next meal for the next workout and let it sit for like another, between that 2 to 4 hours. So after I get hydrated, I'll do like a banana, right, to give me my calcium and stuff like that back up, because you really gonna feel that from the run, depending on how often you run. So you get that banana, and I would do eggs, right? Because eggs are heavy enough to fill you up, but also light enough to where you don't feel like you still holding food over you.
Yeah.
'Cause they could break down fast, right? So I do something like eggs, and then I wouldn't prioritize depending on like how hungry you're gonna feel after. You probably gonna feel hungry, extremely hungry after the workout. So then let's just do the before. So I'll do that banana, then we'll do some eggs, and then depending how much eggs you're eating. Like sometimes I do like maybe just 2 eggs, or it might be 4, depending on like how much intensity or how much of the exercise I'm about to do. So I do the eggs, and then right now I'm prioritizing my protein. I'm gonna give me a protein shake too, because even though we ran, we still broke down some muscles, and we want to get that protein back in us to kind of prioritize it. So I would leave it about right there. So get that banana, either you eating 1 banana or 2, right? And then from that banana, you gain like a little bit of fat as well into it. You get the fat from the eggs as well, and then you get the little bit of fat from the protein. So that gives you a little bit enough energy to go run through the workout. And then after the workout, that's where I'll do like that meat.
That's
like,
where you're gonna get your protein
yeah,
and all that.
that's when I get that extreme, like either.
And do you want to get that as soon as possible after the workout?
It don't
Or does it matter?
Nah, it don't really matter. Cause even like when you drink protein right there and then, it doesn't work right there and then. Like it's gonna give it a few hours before that protein start, actually getting into your system and doing when it needs to do. But as long as you getting it on a daily basis,
Yeah.
or on a routine basis, you're good. But prioritize that, like that chicken, that steak, or whatever after an intense type of lifting.
Gotcha.
So that's what you want to do. Because what that does is that foot is gonna break down so fast. You don't understand. Like, especially you just did the run and you got yourself that hydration, banana, and you got you some eggs and etc. And then you get this good lift, right? Now your body's in overtime working, right? Your metabolism is up. By the time you put that food in, it's gonna break down so fast, like you're gonna be hungry before you even go to sleep. So it's done. That's kind of how I would prioritize that. So I always go based on how I ate last night, the night before, right? As soon as I wake up in the morning, if I'm feeling extremely hungry, so I'm either gonna go, right, depending on if it's a lighter day, I know I'm finna run extremely too long, right? I would do like a Greek yogurt, right, with about 12 grams of protein, right? And then I give me like an avocado, I'll do that. Some good source of fat, because I'm gonna need that on that long run, right? I'll do that, and then I'm gonna give me like a protein shake, but I might not drink the whole full thing depending on the size of it. Because, well, depending also on how much time I got before I go running. So if I do the whole one, I'm gonna give myself another 2 hours, let that digest, because I'm probably gonna hit the restroom to, relieve some of the excessive weight out of me, because usually you still wanna kind of feel hungry when you go on that long run. But while you already have that source of energy that you got in there. So we'll do that, and then after the run, let's say I'm doing like an 8-10 miles run, right? And then give myself rest. Sometimes I like to go from the running straight into the lifting, right? So between that time after the run, I would do like either I could just eat a banana, like I probably won't even put no protein in me right there and then, right? So either you could choose between eat that banana or a nutrition bar and avocado, some kind of source of energy that's going, get you feeling energized. Whether it's like you get that quick burst of energy or whether it's like just that feeling of feeling a little full, like not too full, but like feeling like you got something in your stomach. So I either do a banana or just maybe do an avocado or even just do that yogurt, like any type of source of like food that's not too heavy but not too light.
Yeah.
But something that's gonna get you there. I would do that, and then after the workout, then I'll prioritize eating the biggest meal that I could think of, whether it's like that. The steak or my go-to is chicken. The reason why I go with chicken breast to be specific, is because it breaks down even faster, right? Like by the time I'm like 4 hours after the meal, like that chicken is already broken down. I feel like I want to eat some more food right there and then.
Yeah.
But things like steak or extremely red meat, those take a long time. It'd be like 4 hours afterwards, you still feeling like you still got food in you.
Gotcha.
Or it takes about up to like 7 hours before you even feel like all that food has digested. That's kind of how I go about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, word. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing all this knowledge.
Oh yeah, for sure. Nah, see, I appreciate you asking those questions, because a lot of times I'm even learning as I'm saying myself too. Cause look, I do a lot of times things that I'm doing is all action based. I don't even really take too much time
To self-reflect.
To self-reflect and be
yeah.
like, oh, this how I would explain this and then, like I understand. I just know how to do it, but I don't really know how like the process of what I just did is.
Yeah,
But-
it's funny. I'll be talking to like Rihanna. I'll be like, hey, let me pick your brain about something. And sometimes me just talking about it out loud helps me like organize it and get it all out there. Because when you're in your head, you kind of block yourself constantly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you're getting out there and putting yourself out there, I think that's the same reason why like I tell people, and I have this workshop where I have people just talk to their camera, and I tell them it's not to post a video. It's literally just to get your thoughts out, because you might think that you're thinking, but once you actually like put it out loud or write it on paper, then you're like you have a good stream of like where it could come from. You know what I'm saying?
That's fact. Nah, I ain't never thought about it that way too though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it helps me like as I'm talking, I'm like, oh damn, I'm learning a whole lot from what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know you probably thinking I'm trying to teach you something, but I'm learning something. Like,
That's good, bro.
Yeah, what
That's
I'm
good.
saying too, cause like even right now I'm already having another idea. I'm like, oh, that's what I do. Like maybe let me see when I'm gonna start adding this in here, like just for my meal purpose. Cause we've been talking about meals. Now I'm thinking, I'm like, you know what? Let me see if I add a little thing after that protein shake and see what happens throughout the day when I do that. You
definitely.
see, you just start incorporating different things. So that's kind of like.
And then for the audience, so you guys know too, down linked below, we're gonna have all of the programs and stuff that David and I have been working on. Everything that the food tips that he's had in here, we have them written down, different kind of things, diet ideas, all that stuff. And it's always growing, so depending on when you see this video, even if you come and you look at this video a week, 2 weeks later, there may be new things there. So let them know where they can follow you. What's your Instagram?
That's Kayembe Fitness. And as you can see, we're not just talking about the stuff. It's things we're actually practicing in our own life, right? So he's asking a question about based on what he's been through, based on meals and exercising. And I'm answering a question based on what I've been through, based on meals and exercising and what I've done. So it's not just us giving you that textbook knowledge, but it's something we put into practice. So that's the reason why, we're trying to get you to come work out with us. And the reason is because we're not just talking, but we put this into practice.
Yes, sir. Practicing what we preaching.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.